With the college football playoff out of reach and the chances of a Pac-12 title on life support, USC heads up to Eugene to take on the 8-1 Oregon Ducks. More than a 2-touchdown underdog on the road in one of the most difficult environments in the entire country. Will the firing of Alex Grinch be enough of a spark to help SC upset the Ducks? There's nothing to lose in this one, and hey, when number 13 is your trigger man, never count us out. It's USC, it's Oregon, let's go. What's up, guys? My name is Gabe and welcome into the Trojan Blade. We've got a big one this week, I guess. I'm so used to discussing Oregon as an opponent on the recruiting trail, it'll be refreshing to actually discuss an on-field matchup for once. And if any of you have been following this channel for a while, you know the absolute disdain I have for this Oregon program. So you want to win every week, obviously, but there is some added juice to this week's game for me personally, and I know for a lot of you as well. But one thing I don't have disdain for is saving money on tickets, and that's where my friends at SeatGeek come in handy. They are now hooking my subscribers up with $20 off your first order when you use my promo code TrojanBlade at checkout. There's only one more chance to see the boys in the Collie this season, and let's just say there's some good deals out there at the moment for tickets. So head over to SeatGeek, use the promo code that you're seeing on your screen right now, and get yourself some tickets. Alright, thank you so much SeatGeek, and thank you all for being here today. Let's get into it. So first up, let's meet the head coach of the Ducks. It is, of course, second-year man and former Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning. I think Dan is a really good coach and a sharp defensive mind who sets the culture and tone for that team. I also think he happens to be an arrogant prick that claims that Colorado is playing for clicks when Oregon is the click capital of college football, going as far as to pay random people to stand at game day with bone nose signs, but that's besides the point. This Oregon team is going to come out this week looking for blood. If you guys didn't see it, Lanning is already talking shit saying that at USC practice we're running 7-on-7s while they're doing full speed tackling. As true as the statement may be, it doesn't make him any less of an ass. We haven't really had a lot of bulletin board material coming from other coaches or teams this year, but in this case we definitely do. And if our guys needed that little something extra to get them going this week, this could be that for sure. Or maybe too many of our guys will be checked out now that the season is more or less over. I have no clue. I do hope they use it to fuel them this week though. Now, flipping over to this Oregon offense, it all starts here with 10th year quarterback Bo Nix. I am actually a big fan of Bo and his game. He does get a lot of crap for his average air yards per attempt and the majority of his throws being 5 yards and under, but he does what's asked of him in this scheme and he does it very well. When you have the athletes that Oregon has at both the running back and wide receiver positions, you don't have to chuck it downfield every other play. The SC offense may be on track now, but earlier in the year, I thought it would have benefited us greatly to adopt an approach like Oregon has been using on offense. But anyways, taking a look at what Bo has done on the year, he's completing nearly 80% of his passes on the year. He's at 78 to be exact. He's got over 2,700 yards passing with 25 touchdowns and only 2 picks. Fantastic ratio there, obviously. He's also ran in 5 scores as well. Look, we know what Bo's going to do. He's going to get the ball out quickly and he's going to let his playmakers make plays. In many ways, this is the worst possible matchup for the SC defense. Our guys are going to be asked to diagnose these short throws and screens and fly up and make an open field tackle. And once they lull you to sleep with all these short throws, they uncork a bomb over your head. So to recap, the USC defense needs to diagnose the play correctly, make open field tackles, and still remain disciplined in the secondary to defend against deep shots. I've seen crazier things happen in sports, but on paper, this is just an awful matchup for the SC defense. Oh, and remember how Washington, the team that couldn't run the ball whatsoever, ran it all over us? Well, this week we're facing a team that does not have that problem. Bucky Irving is on deck this week, and this guy is a beast. Big time speed, but he also runs with power. He can house it from any spot on the field. He's only listed at 5'10", 195, but he plays much bigger than that. If you aren't already familiar with him, I have a feeling you're going to be by the end of this game on Saturday night. They're going to feed him and feed him often. The question for SC here is, with Grinch being gone, are we going to see different personnel along the line? And will we see a simplification of the scheme? Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, I talked to a few players and parents, and it sounds like Grinch had full say on who played, not the position coaches. So will we see Bars and Bear together? Will we see Kobe Pepe? Is Stanley T still going to be running with the ones? It'll be fascinating to see. I would expect some changes, but will they be enough to slow down Oregon's running game? No clue. Let's talk wideouts. Of course, there is a very familiar face in the Ducks wideout room and former USC fan favorite, Gary Bryant Jr. Now, he hasn't been a huge factor for them this season, only bringing in 20 balls, but no doubt he'll want to make a big statement against his former program. But the guy in this room for the Ducks and one of the best wideouts in the entire country is 6'3" junior Troy Franklin. 58 catches, 946 yards, and 10 scores. Big time player that is going to put some major strain on Damani Jackson or CRW, anyone who's covering him honestly. He's a nightmare after the catch and his double move is nasty, so we've got to be disciplined with this guy in the secondary. Offensive line wise, Bo doesn't get hit a lot, having only been sacked 5 times this year, but I do think that's much more a product of the scheme than it is the dominance of the Duck offensive line. Not to say they're bad or anything like that, I actually think this is a very solid unit, but the scheme and the way they run things really helps mitigate the pressure he takes. The notable name on this line, of course, being Josh Connerly, who was coming to USC, but of course Oregon decided to drop that bag at the last second, as they tend to do. Overall, this Oregon offense is very balanced and in my opinion is the best that SC has faced this year. It's going to be a mammoth challenge for this defense to come together and put together even a semi-acceptable performance. I think they can do it with some new personnel rotations and a simplification of the scheme. I think if our guys play free and fast, they could get the stops required to allow the offense to win this game. As unlikely as that may sound, it's a definite possibility. Now let's talk about the Oregon defense. Scheme-wise, this is a 4-2-5. It's very funny because I get some comments about wishing SC played defense like Oregon and they're sick of the 4-2-5, yet Oregon and many other big-time programs run the 4-2-5. So kind of funny to see that, but looking at the numbers for this group, Oregon is currently allowing 16 points per game, which is good for the 11th scoring defense in the country. They're the number 27 red zone defense, 18th total defense, 36th passing defense, and the 12th ranked rush defense. Now, those are some very nice numbers and stats, but we will be able to move the ball on this defense. If we remain committed to the run game and Caleb hits the checkdowns when they're available and works in some of the Houdini stuff, I am confident in our offense against anybody. Now, the right side of the O-line is always a concern no matter the opponent, but that's even more true this week. There are some absolute dogs in this Oregon front. Brandon Dorless, Jordan Birch, Casey Rogers, Mateo Uiagalelei as well. Another one of those last-second bag drop guys, but the Trojan line has to come ready to play. Oregon will try to turn this game into a street fight in the trenches. We have to be ready and willing to engage them and match their physicality. One of the biggest issues that SC has had on this entire year is zero chippiness or scrappiness from our players. We don't get into it with other teams. We don't get after guys when they hit Caleb late. It's too soft. I want to see some chippiness. I want to see our guys be pissed off, and that starts with the offensive line. If they come out and set the tone and make it known from the first snap that we are the aggressors, that will give us the edge from the jump. Moving back to the secondary though, Steve Stevens, in addition to having a hilarious name, is the deep safety for the Ducks, and he's a fantastic player. He reads the game very well and is not afraid to come up and hit you. Evan Williams is an absolute playmaker from the safety spot as well. He has 3.5 sacks on the year. He plays in a very similar style to a guy like Jamal Adams with the Seattle Seahawks. Very aggressive, very athletic, and very physical. Look, overall with the Duck defense, I truly believe that when we are on our game, there isn't a defense out there that can shut us down. God knows in this game, we're more than likely going to need a flawless performance from them to win this game. I'd look for Deuce Robinson to make some big plays. I hope Marshawn Lloyd is back and ready to go. And Caleb just needs to be Caleb. Probably going to have to score 50 plus to win this game. It's impossible to accurately predict this game, having zero clue what kind of mental state the team is in, but with all the weird social media stuff we've seen and the defense just appearing to be lost, I am going to predict Oregon winning this one 58-52. Like I said, there is absolutely a world where the personnel changes and the scheme is simplified and the defense becomes slightly not as awful. I hope that's the case, but I can't predict that until we see it. So of course, please let me know your score predictions down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you did happen to enjoy this game preview, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for being here today. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on. Beat the Ducks.